All right, so here we go. Yes, this is our very first battle against the new enemy type coming up for the Thousand Suns, known as the Zangar Shaman. You guys may have seen them teased in the post-launch trailer, and yes, they are a reality, as you can see right here. You're probably wondering, hey, Robbie, how in the world are you facing off against these guys? Well, that's thanks to the recent Astartes overhaul mod. Those modders got into the files and actually managed to get the Shaman working. It seems like it was pretty easy for them to do, at least, because the animations were already there and everything was set up. And again, you got to remember, this is most likely going to be the next new enemy type added to the game officially. Now, these new enemy types are, of course, for the Thousand Suns, and it's a lot of fun facing off against them. Does it completely change the game? No, but I definitely did want to talk about this Astartes overhaul mod because they're doing some very cool stuff with it, which I think Focus and Saber Interactive should really pay attention to. Like, there's some really cool Dreadnought battles that I got to get into, as you can see right here. This was absolutely badass. I'm telling you what, I feel like the Dreadnought needs to make more of an appearance in the game. And then also, you got a lot more reinforcements with this Astartes mod as well. But we're going to talk about one feature that was removed from the game, and guess what? Players want it to return. At least some of the community is talking about this, and it seems like in some way it will be returning. We're also going to be talking about, yes, those Zoanthropes and Neurothrope spam, and we're going to talk about lethal difficulty. Is it in the perfect spot or not? Plus Blood Angels, and what is the point of being a bulwark if you're not gonna bulwark? And later in the video, we're going to dive into your top comments, and I'm going to highlight my time with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle as well, so look forward to that one. But anyway, back to the Astartes overhaul mod. Let me tell you what, I am having an absolute blast with this one because of the pure carnage. And what's also really cool about this mod is that you can experience Tyranids on otherwise non-Tyranid maps. And yeah, there's some really cool stuff going on with freeing up class restrictions as well. As you can clearly see here, I'm using the heavy with a sniper rifle. So let's dive into this right here. Here is the Astartes overhaul mod, which of course is now live on Nexus Mod. Remember, by the way, if you're wondering, hey, am I going to get banned for using this mod? Well, the mod sends you offline automatically. Plus, yes, you can play in like private matches with friends, but officially what Saber has said is that they are okay with players actually initiating PvE mods. So there's that. But again, just to play it safe, I do recommend playing it offline. Anyway, it says this. Hey, Battle Brothers, we're thrilled to announce the release of Astartes Overhaul, which is a massive upgrade to Space Marine 2 gameplay. Now it says, no class limits in operations. 3 Assault Marines, select any squad configuration without class restrictions, giving you the freedom to strategize for each mission, which a lot of you guys want to see. But now you can actually do that with this mod. Now, allied reinforcements get backup throughout operations and counter various allies who bring fresh support to each mission. Yes, Dreadnoughts. And there's something about seeing this many reinforcements fighting alongside you in these operations. And it made me think, man, it would be really cool to see this officially supported more in operations as an actual gameplay feature where you yourself can work your way up to actually calling in these reinforcements and kind of make it more randomized on the operations. I just think that'd be very, very cool. And this mod really told me how much more potential there is in Space Marine 2 going forward. I feel like even with the current existing maps, they potentially could do a lot of variations with the AI. So I'm crossing my fingers that's kind of the direction that they take. That, of course, we're going to get new content for PvE missions, but it would be really neat to see them liven up the current existing operations as well with far more randomization. I just think that would be very cool. But let's keep going here. We also have the Kitmaster customization. It says unlock a plethora of unique customization to make each operator truly yours. You can also have an expanded operator arsenal access, unlock more choices. Every operator now has access to an expanded arsenal of weapons while still reserving the heaviest weapons for our heavy specialists. And this is cool. It opens up a lot of options, like the tactical being able to use the hammer. There's all sorts of wacky, cool combinations you can now do. And it makes me wonder if Saber should kind of free up some of those class restrictions. I get why they're doing it, to kind of make each class feel unique. Let me know how you guys are feeling about it. If you feel like class restrictions should be kind of lifted as we go. An expanded enemy roster is a big one. Brace yourself for an even greater variety of foes, adding intensity and complexity to every encounter. And let me tell you what, it has been an absolute blast in this regard. We're talking about more sub-bosses on the map, more Majoris enemies, more waves, more hordes, and it definitely feels very intense. But when you combine it with the next feature right here, check it out. Lore-accurate weapon buffs. Bolters and other iconic weapons have been rebalanced for that real 40K punch. And this is something in particular that I love because, yeah, it feels like things pack a lot more oomph and you feel a lot deadlier. You are getting a lot more hordes in there and more waves. And you would think, hey, why wouldn't the dev team actually just officially add this into the game? Of course, it's a lot more complicated because you got to consider consoles are in the mix, performance, that sort of thing. You just can't throw in more enemies. So yeah, in that way, it's a bit more complicated than just modding it into the game. But you know, for me personally, I haven't noticed that this sort of thing has impacted performance. So I'm kind of curious to see what direction the game takes officially in terms of how many on-screen units that we can actually experience at once. So we'll find out as we go. But also we have this as well. This is pretty cool. Checkpoint system in operations. New mid-operation checkpoints keep you in the action, and brutal new executions, new takedown animations bring the brutal power of Astartes to life. And that makes me wonder, I try to look out for these, by the way, but it makes me wonder if those things would, of course, come to the game officially. They did mention that with the new enemy variants that you would expect new brutal executions, but I'm kind of curious if you're going to see that with some of the enemies that we're already facing off against. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that sort of thing did officially happen to kind of liven up the combat. And we've got new Retributor cosmetics and customizable Mark 8 armor as well. Take inspiration from the legendary Astartes short film. Equip your Space Marines with new Retributor cosmetics and full customizable Mark 8 helmet. I think they did have like a screenshot of that right there. Check it out right there. So a lot of you guys will love that one. And the post did wrap up by once again offering a little bit of a warning saying, be sure to play the mod offline, go into private lobbies only if you're going to play with your friends. Do not disrupt the public PvE games whatsoever. But you know what? We got to see what the community has been talking about. And you guys may remember that controversial feature that was added to update 4 then ultimately removed. And we got to talk about, yes, lethal type formation. Some people are still wanting this to come back, since I feel like it's time for Saber to add back the type formation for players who want a different kind of challenge. Catering to both casual and player who wants challenge are equally important. Just don't give in to players who complain instead of learning how to play in the new challenge. 1 week is not enough for players to learn how to work in this new kind of difficulty challenge, or at least allow us to have type formation in PvE as a modifier. Again, like, this is no big deal. If you guys miss lethal type formation, which I feel like it's very few of you, Saber is going to bring us an even better variation of this, I believe, in the form of modifiers. So, you know, this was like a test run, so to speak, I guess you would say, for this sort of thing. And this version definitely overall was not well received. And I do not think they should just throw it back into the game. I think that would be a huge mistake for sure. All right, but we also got to talk about this one right here because the community is talking about it. Still getting Zoanthrope and Neurothrope span and other BS. It appears the patch really didn't do anything. The game is actually harder now. The Bulwark loses 2 armor nodes in 1 hit from any enemy. Just played a match where we literally defeated a Zoanthrope only to have a Neurothrope spawn about 30 seconds later. I don't know what the sweats are talking about. The game is not easier. It is harder. I have only won 1 match out of maybe 13 so far. When we have 4.0, I was doing very well despite the enemy floods. The Bulwark seems to be severely nerfed, and appears they made him slower, lowered his armor ability, and nerfed his power sword. It shouldn't take 32 hits with a maxed out power sword to kill a warrior, landed not blocked. There are still way too many warriors, especially the grass spammer types. And he offered up some fixes. Let me know if you guys agree with this or not. Give the player the ability to cancel actions. Stop forcing us to wait for this long, drawn-out animation. It is not realistic at all, and it does not make the game fun or challenging. Cut the overuse of warriors in half. Cut the probability of Zoanthropes and Neurothropes spawning in the same stage of the mission, and cut their armor in half. If we have to keep fighting hundreds of enemies, give us more ammo or make our gun 2 times more powerful. Grenades should be a part of the loadout, not a pickup. Actually go in and fix the roll speed and distance. You didn't do that at all. Give us a squad of 4 times Marines, and for fuck's sakes, get rid of the class restrictions. And yeah, he kind of triples down or quadruples down about the grenade should not be a part of the loadout, not a pickup. But yeah, some people, he highlighted this comment which says, yeah, I pretty much had it with this dog shit game in all honesty, and decided to go back to Helldivers to get that power fantasy fill, because clear Nerf Marine 2 does not have that fill in the supposed buffing patch. When Saber finally decides to make the game not suck ass, I will come back when fighting doesn't feel like I'm hitting enemies with a wet noodle or shooting them with a damn pea shooter. Oh, and happy Liberty Day. All right, so anyway, yeah. You know, I feel like they're headed in the right direction. I don't think it's like all doom and gloom whatsoever. I think some of this stuff is like, I'm just going to say some people need to calm down a little bit about the reactions, give it a little bit more time. And hey, it's okay to hop into Helldivers 2 if that's something that you want to do as well. That's also no big deal. But, you know, they're not done with updating Space Marine 2. And they've said that they want to do further balancing tweaks and adjustments for sure. And I do expect that to be happening. Hopefully they mention it in this upcoming blog post, by the way. We should be hearing their plans here, I believe, again, in the next 5 to 7 days. At least that's what, according to the kind of schedule that they said that they are on with releasing these blog posts. So yeah, you know, calm down. Don't panic. Everything is going to be okay. Next up, we have this one. I think Saber just got the perfect spot on Lethal with 4.1. Hard but fun. Thanks, Saber. So there's a totally different take here, and 945 upvotes. And here's the top comment on this one as well. Bolters still just need a little more of a buff. So that is the overall sentiment between the two threads. So yeah, you're seeing this thing even between the complaints and the compliments, this common denominator that all of you seem to want more buffs for your bolters, and that would make you pretty happy. Next up, we have this one right here. Please, Saber, not all Blood Angels are first company. Include a blood drop decal for the right shoulder. 405 upvotes. A lot of people want to see this. Just let every left shoulder decal be put on the right. That fix everything. I don't know why they bothered putting Deathwatch stuff if you can't have the most icons on the right shoulder. And I've been saying this for weeks. It's a simple quality of life addition that should have been in the last patch. I don't know if this is like lore restriction type stuff or not, but more customization stuff is going to be happening. We got to talk about the bulwark. What is the point of being a bulwark if you're not going to bulwark? A lot of people talking about this one. I played with 5 different bulwarks last night, and I ended up meshing one of them to thank them for being the only one to actually try and heal their teammates. One of the bulwarks that I played with me got angry, even though he had 75% health and I barely had a bar from having to tackle on multiple extremists by myself. He set up his banner for him to heal himself with a finisher on a Majorist next to me, and I took it from him because unlike him, I actually fucking needed it. He got pissed and left, which honestly, good riddance, since we still finished the mission with someone else on decapitation with lethal difficulty. Like, please, for the love of Big E, if you're gonna be a bulwark and you clearly have the healing perk, help your teammates. You're risking failing the mission by not doing it, so it's actually just as beneficial to you as it is to them. Is this kind of like an epidemic in Space Marine 2? I've noticed this somewhat, by the way, but overall, my experience is, it is interesting to think about this. My personal experience with bulwarks has been great. Like, I've noticed people like putting down the banner right beside me. It has been freaking epic. So overall, it's been pretty good, but I'm kind of curious to see if some of the bulwarks are getting lazy out there or not. Sound off in the comments below if this has happened to you constantly, if this has become like an epidemic in the game or not. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting session for sure. All right, mentioning discussions, we've got to go over your top comments from my last 2 videos, because yeah, one of the videos is a Warhammer Space Marine 2 video, but I also got to go hands-on with, guess what? Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Yeah, Bethesda flew me out to LA to check it out, and I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised by this game. You could see my reactions and initial thoughts about the game by following the link or just finding it on the channel. I'll try to throw it in the description. Hopefully I do not forget. But anyway, check it out if you missed it already. But it seemed like the comments were overall pretty positive about the game. If we scroll down here, it says, this looks like the Chronicles of Riddick game, which is a huge compliment to the game. And by the way, a lot of the dev team from Chronicles of Riddick are on the Indiana Jones game. And it says, it's a little reminiscent of Medal of Honor Allied Assault, just a vibe I'm getting. I like it, dude. You absolutely nailed it on that one. For me, you know, I've also played Medal of Honor Airborne. If you take out like the paratroopers, you still get that kind of feel with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in terms of the openness and being able to explore the levels. Yeah, and it really kind of surprised me with how big Egypt was. There's a section in Egypt that feels very open, also reminiscent of Metro Exodus in terms of overall design with how you can like explore these different open worldish areas. It's not completely open world, and I think that's to the service of the game. Not everything has to be like 100% open world. But anyway, back to Space Marine 2. Let's get into your comments about my most recent Space Marine 2 video, which was this one. Yes, it's happening. Devs greenlit all new content and more. Check it out if you missed it. So it says this: they need to put more armor bars under your teammates' health. If I knew how much armor they had, I would let them take a finisher for an armor segment. 216 upvotes. A lot of people want to see this. And it says, I just want my assault jump to not be blocked by 2-foot tall railing. That is so annoying. They do need to fine tune some of that. I really don't like how the banner for Bulwark is always Ultramarines banner. That would be good to customize for your chapter customs. I haven't confirmed anything in this regard, but dude, can you imagine flying your banner fully customized with the Bulwark? That would be freaking sweet. Now, Saber seriously needs to add color options for cloth elements, even if it's a limited palette of only a couple of colors. The white is so boring. No word on this just yet. We do know lens color is going to be customizable, and we're going to see like more customization options for the helmets, but nothing about that just yet. It says, I agree, not including assault's hoverability to PvE is disrespectful for assault players. And we do know we're going to be getting like a new class down the road, but I hope that they do fine tune or rework some of these existing classes as well as we go. Cross my fingers that does happen. But anyway, there it is. The latest happenings around Space Marine 2. Thank you all so much for the love and support on the videos. Greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned here for more Space Marine 2. I have you guys updated, and I will see you all next time. Take care.